Amen. Amen. I don't know about you guys, but singing songs is just, it'll wake you up in the morning. And I had a cut on my finger that I was trying to avoid when I was playing up there. Man, those songs were too good. So I just played, and it hurt, but it was fine. I didn't want to gripe about too much. You'd call me a pansy, so I wanted to just go ahead and play through the pain like a true champion that I am today. Good job, Adam. Yeah, good job. Yeah, good job, Adam. Oh, thanks, guys. Thank you. If you don't know who I am, I'm not the normal guy. I'm Adam. My official title is a family pastor, meaning I take care, my job is mainly 12th grade and down. So if they're a student of some sort in high school or down, I'm kind of over them, mainly because we're on the same wavelength. We get along just fine. They say stupid stuff. I say stupid stuff. They get along just great. So I've been asked to fill in today. And to be honest with you, I didn't make a PowerPoint. I didn't have any slides because I struggled with this all week. We're going to be in Genesis 21. And as I was looking and preparing, I was like, this sounds like what I just talked about on June 22nd. I preached on June 22nd, right before we went to Falls Creek. I preached about Sarah not having faith in God, and she gave Hagar to Abraham to have a son. Talked about faithfulness and talked about God and his timing. And then I go to Genesis 21. It's about Sarah having a child 25 years later. And it's about faithfulness and God's timing. I was like, what? Do we just need to play the video from the 22nd? What do I need to do here? And I finally realized, I think God was talking to me a lot more and wanted me to realize and trust his timing and his faithfulness in my life. So let's get started, and then if you're new here or you haven't met me or anything, you might learn more about me today than you probably wanted, and I apologize. But that's what the Lord said to do, so we're going to do it. So if you have any problems, talk to him. So we're going to be in Genesis 21. We're talking about the birth of Isaac. Verse 1 says, "Now the Lord was gracious to Sarah, as he said, and the Lord did for Sarah what he had promised. Sarah became pregnant and bore a son to Abraham in his old age, at the very time God had promised him. Abraham gave the name Isaac to the son Sarah bore him. When the son Isaac was 8 days old, Abraham circumcised him, and as God commanded. Abraham was 100 years old when his son Isaac was born to him." They made very crystal clear in the Bible right here that you understand that Sarah gave birth to a son. Abraham was given a son. Abraham was 100 years old. 25 years prior to this, God told Sarah, "I will give you a son where many nations come from." And Sarah said, "Yes." And then she said, "When?" How many of you had kids? Yesterday, I had to go pick up my son. He was in Westville with my parents. We're going to come pick you up today. We'll be there this afternoon. 5 minutes later, what time are you coming? We'll be over there in a little while this afternoon. So what time do you think that would be? Finally, I just have to give him a time. This is why I'm never on time, because I just throw out times so they will be quiet. I'll be there at 1:15. I got there about 1:30. Because we're not patient. Sarah wasn't patient. She's like, I'm going to have a baby. I need a baby, God. So then she went and got Hagar, gave Hagar to Abraham, and said, all right, you have a son. And that didn't work out well. It never does. Love triangles and baby mamas and baby dad, it never works out good. Ask Jerry. Okay, the shows, it never worked out well. So now, 25 years later, she is pregnant. And she's not young. And Abraham is not young either. When I got married at 21 years old, almost 22. Me and my wife, Allison, who was standing right there, were excited and we were ready to have a family, to the point that we sold our small house that we're in, and we bought a bigger house that had 4 bedrooms, and it was ready to be filled up as a family. And we bought that when I was 25 years old, ready to have a family. We did not get our first son until I was 29 years old. The amount of doctor visits, the amount of crying, the amount of praying, the amount of I was mad at God because I wanted a family. And he wasn't giving me a family. Me and Allison at the time were both teachers. I taught high school. It was hard when a high school girl would come up pregnant. Junior or senior would come up pregnant. And me and Allison are just broken because we're like, why do they get to have a baby when we don't have one? I told Allison, I was like, well, maybe we need to go cruise the back roads. Maybe that's the secret. But I said, I'm too old for that. I ain't doing that. August of 2008, so I got married in 2002. August 2008, we get a phone call. This lady says, a friend of ours says, my sister is pregnant and she does not want to raise the baby, or she cannot raise the baby. She don't feel like she's financially stable. She lived in Arizona on a reservation. And she was talking to that, and I thought of you guys. I wanted to see what you thought. So we thought about it. We prayed about it. Yeah, we would adopt this baby. So we talked to the mom from August until December. We talked. We sent pictures. We all did the stuff. She asked what we were going to name the baby. It's a baby girl. We gave her the name. And like December, right before Christmas break, like December 19th, 20th, somewhere in there, I get a phone call at school. Hey, she's going into labor. We got to go. So we hop in the car and we drive all day and all night. And we get to Arizona about 6 in the morning. We go to the hospital. She had already had the baby. We got to go in. We saw the baby. We held the baby. Something wasn't right. I held that baby, and I was just like, I don't know what it is to be a dad, because I'm not a dad at this time. Holding this baby and looking at her. Like, well, I guess it grows on you. I don't know. So we talked for a little bit. Well, they say, okay, you guys need to step out. We need to take care of the baby a little bit. And so these 4 months that we've been talking, everybody on the family, all the family knew that lived there, everybody knew that this was the plan. And the grandma walked in after we walked out, and she said, I'm going to keep that baby. Well, if you know anything about Indian child welfare, if a family member says, we're going to keep a baby, and you look like I look, they're going to keep the baby. So now, all of a sudden, I felt like, and I was looked at as a white person on an Indian reservation trying to steal a baby. And oh my gosh, the, the, the way I felt, my heart just broke. I was sick to my stomach, mainly for my wife, who wanted to be a mom so bad, and she is one of the best moms that I've ever met. Like her and my mom are like right there. I'm not picking sides, don't do it. So the friend that went with us, it was her sister. She talked to him. We went back to the hotel. We slept. We cried. We slept. We cried. We said, well, I guess we're just going to go back home. That's December of 2008. And I still mad and don't understand why God did that or what God's timing was. And I'm like, the baby still has a name that we told them. There is a 15-year-old girl in Arizona somewhere that we named. I have no idea what her life is like now. But I know that if we adopted her, I know what her life would be, and I know that she would be loved. I'm not saying she's not now, but I'm knowing she would be loved. But that wasn't the plan. So now we got to go. We start 2009, and we are just struggling. Right? We're trying to do everything to keep us busy because I'm getting ready to turn 29 years old, and I don't know what's too old for a parent, but not much more, right? I can't get up all the time when I'm old. So I didn't, just so you know. Allison's not in here. I mean, I did all the time. She's not in here. Don't tell her. Don't fact check me. But I was up with the baby every time, all the time. So we go through the process, and we get set up with Cherokee Nation because I know you're thinking, I'm Cherokee. I know you can see it. But I feel like that was a little too aggressive. November 2009, we get a phone call that we have a baby that's been taken from the family that they don't take care of their kids. They have a history of not taking care of kids, and we've taken this baby, and would you like to foster? There's a chance that you can adopt this baby later. So December 5th, 2009, we went down to Stillwell. We picked up Tucker. I tell you, when I held that baby girl and I didn't know what to feel. When I held Tucker, I felt everything that you're supposed to feel. I mean, guys, I had like fuzzies and warmness and how you get not the cold chills, but the warm chills. And my wife's there, and she's like, let me hold him. I said, no. And that day, I got my son. 7 years after that we got married, we had been trying for 4 years to have a baby. Being told no, being told we cannot have a biological child. That's what we were told. Well, then that's not what God wants us to do then. God wants us to do something else. So some things were brought up to us, and I was like, I don't think God's saying that. That costs too much money. I can't do that. There are plenty of children, and this is my plug right here also for DHS and ICW. This is my plug. There are plenty of children that need a home to be loved in. There are children in this county, in this town, that don't know what it is to be loved completely. They don't know what it's all about to have their own bedroom or their own bed. We are called to take care of the orphans and the widows. So if you ever feel the need for that, I will gladly help you however I can, because we are called to take care of that. And I told Alice, I was like, maybe we need to adopt. And other people in our family, extended family, had already adopted before. I have a cousin that you guys know National Lampoon Christmas Vacation, right? Everybody know that? You know Cousin Eddie? I have a cousin. His name's Eddie. I have a cousin Eddie. There's a lot of similarities, guys, okay? But anyway, he's about this tall. He's about 5'9", 5'10". He's wider than I am. He has red hair. He's adopted 2 children. One of them happened to be a 6'8" black kid. Family photos are amazing. Like, where's my son? He's like, there's my son. No, that's not your kid. Yeah. So our family, the Collins side of our family, we're blended. We have Hispanics that have been adopted in. We've had black children that have been adopted in. We have natives that have been adopted in. So adopting wasn't a new thing to me, so we went forward and we got to adopt Tucker in August 2011. Best day ever. So I thought, all right, here we go. God is taking care of us. And I thought we were just cruising. We were just rolling down the road, thought we were perfect, got our little family going, no big deal. On Tucker's 3rd birthday, I'm putting together a go-kart, and I'm doing something, getting it ready. And Allison calls me and says, hey, I need you to come home. Tucker's brother's coming to the house. What? Allison, you're not, what? So Tate had been born. Tate was 3 days old, and they said, hey, Tucker's biological brother is born. Would you like him to come to your house? I said, well, sure. Looking back on now, I should have thought about it, but I just. So we had Tucker's birthday, and our family shows up, and there's a baby there. So then in February of 2014, we adopted Tate. Man, I tell you what, we got our 2.4 kids. We have our house. There's no picket fence, but it had a lake view. We had a dog. American dream, guys. We were cruising. And Allison finds out when we get the opportunity that there's a house that's going up for sheriff's auction. We can get a bigger house, a lot cheaper. So we went and bought this house, and we fixed it up. I'm like, look at this house. The kids got their own room. They got their own bathroom. We have a game room. This is amazing. September of 2018, Allison goes, hey, there's some kids at our school that need a home. Okay. She had thought and prayed about it for weeks, because she knew when she asked me, I was going to say, okay. Anytime a kid needs a home, come on over. Okay. So November 2018, we get 3 more boys and a girl. That girl. The boys I was ready for. I don't know about this girl thing. So in March of 2019, we officially became a family of 8. In less than 10 years, we went from wanting a family, crying, begging, pleading, not understanding, to having a family of 8 in our house. Is it chaos? Yes. Would I change it? No. Because God delivers what he promises. And that's what we're going to finish up right here. So verse 6, Sarah said, God has brought me laughter, and everyone who hears about this will laugh with me. And she added, who would have said to Abraham that Sarah would nurse a child? Yet I have borne him a son in his old age. In the first 6 verses of Genesis 21, they say how many times that Sarah bore a child for Abraham. Abraham was given a child born from Sarah. They said it multiple times, probably because they're almost 100 years old and no one believed them. Sarah gave Abraham a child. He said he would, and he did. Get my notes, sorry. How many of you growing up had a parent that said, if you start something, a sport, you can't quit, right? Hey, Mom, Dad, I want to play baseball. All right, then. And then week number 3, I don't like baseball. Well, that stinks because you got a long season ahead of you. And we finished baseball, right? Our kids know that. God never quits what he starts. He always finishes what he starts. God said he would give Sarah a child for Isaac. He said a while ago, and here it is. Then we look at what happened to Hagar. We can't forget about Hagar right here. So Isaac was born. Ishmael's a little older now. Obviously, there's some conflict between Isaac and Ishmael. There has to be, right? First of all, Ishmael is Abraham's first son, but it's with their servant Hagar. And now Isaac is born, which is from his wife and the baby they've been waiting on. So Ishmael probably feels some kind of way. He has to. But Abraham has to feel a little bit, right? He has to be torn. Abraham there has to be some stress on him because his wife is not liking how Ishmael is treating Isaac. His wife is not a fan of them. Even though it was her idea, she's not a fan of them, and she asked Abraham to get rid of them. Let's go on. Let's look at verse 9. It says, "But Sarah saw that the son whom Hagar the Egyptian had borne to Abraham," there it is again, just so you remember here, was mocking, and he was mocking, and she said to Abraham, "Get rid of that slave woman and her son, for that slave woman's son will never share in the inheritance with my son Isaac." Look at verse 11. "The matter distressed Abraham greatly," because it was his son. She's saying, get rid of her. When he gets rid of her, he gets rid of his son as well. But if you go on, that you can see the next morning he took some food and a skin of water and gave to Hagar. Now, youth, when it says a skin of water, just so you know, that's basically a canteen. They take animal skin, they cut it, they fold it, they sew it, they put water in it. Okay? That's a canteen. He set them on her shoulders and sent them off with the boy. So the last part we're going to talk about is God he protects us and he sees us. If we read later in Genesis 1, they were traveling in the wilderness and they kind of get to a point, and Hagar puts Ishmael under a bush and she goes sit somewhere else because she does not want to watch her son die. And they cry out to God, and God's like, "I'm here. I got you. I got you." They end up finding a well, and they end up living, and Ishmael grows up, gets married, and has 12 sons of his own because God promised Hagar to take care of him. Some of us are like Ishmael, that we've been wandering around and we're in that wilderness just trying to find our way. I'll tell you what, for the first 7 years of my marriage, when we were trying to have a baby and that's all you think about, that's all that consumes you, you're just wandering around and you don't know if you're on the right path or not because you're focused on everything about that baby and nothing else. And sometimes we are walking today. There's people that walked in here today with a smile on their face that are just lost. And they're struggling. there's so much that that people deal with daily that we just push down, and we thought, well, no one's going to hear me, no one's going to come to me. Let me tell you something, that God will always hear you. If we call out to God when we're in that wilderness, when we're struggling, we're in that desert, He will hear you, and He will come to you. But the lesson that we have to learn in this is we don't know. He might not come when you want Him or when you think He should. He might not give you what you think you need. You know, I asked for a family, and I had 2 children, and I thought God did exactly what I prayed for. But God said He wasn't done yet, and He gave me more. So we always have to, even when we call out to God, and we know that He is faithful, we know that He is always there, but when we call out to Him, we have to be ready to accept what His plan is for us. Sometimes we call out and we want to be helped. We want God to see us. We want God to hear us. And we want to go and do this for that or that for God. And when He says, here you go, do this, you're like, whoa, 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 whoa. God's timing is never wrong, even if it don't line up with yours. Something we try to teach our kids daily is about patience. And I tell you, as a Christian, I quit praying for patience. If you haven't learned that trick, don't pray for patience. Because if you do, you get kids. I'm just joking. I'm just joking. You get Tate. We try and teach our kids patience. We don't have to know the answer right now. That's a hard thing, right? How many lately, I do this, we were talking about this the other day, I was trying to think of something, when you try to think of what movie was that person in? You know, you're like, hey, you remember that person? Oh, what was that movie they were in back in 2012? What was that movie? I don't know. What do you do? By golly, I'll tell you what movie that was in. We do not wait. We don't wait for answers. We go get our answers. So when God says, I got you, we have to be willing to say,